Coming up on today's Indonesia, the president has announced a $500 million package in aid to Papua. A food app will guide you to choose the best restaurant in the city. And learning about local cuisines and their cultures with Chef Rahung Nasution. Selamat berjumpa lagi. Welcome to today's Indonesia. From Jakarta, I am Luisa Kusnandar. President Joko Widodo launched two major infrastructure projects in Papua that is worth 7.6 trillion rupiah or more than $500 million on Sunday. Here with that and more is our business anchor, Pris Makinanti. Pris, what is actually the president's plan to Papua?
Luisa, special attention is likely given to the easternmost province. The government have committed to boost economic development in Papua through those projects. The first project is the Trans-Papua Highway, a 3-kilometer road that connects the province. The government has allocated some 4 trillion rupiah or about $300 million to finance the project. President Widodo also inaugurated a telecommunication project carried out by the state-owned Telkom worth 3.6 trillion rupiah or about $275 million. The 8-kilometer fiber optic network links 34 districts in Sulawesi, Maluku, and Papua. The president hopes these projects will be finished by 2019. Indonesia's booming e-commerce market has attracted not only local but also foreign players. Craved, an online food-based startup, is one example. I talked to co-founder Stephen Kim.
So basically we started off as a reservation platform straight up. So it was more focusing on the transactional element of really kind of securing seats in restaurants and also being able to bring in like a hotel booking element to it so that restaurants can market themselves better at slow times that they have, either it be a time of the day or a day of the week, right? And then we went through funding rounds, and then we saw that we have a bigger opportunity in actually going earlier up the user funnel in actually assisting in discovery. Because yes, there are a few platforms in Indonesia, but still it's very difficult to identify what are the new restaurants, because there's so many of them as well, and just building up that opinion on that. So since December last year, we've widened it up to a full directory as well. So we have 4 major pillars, basically discovery and inspiration, like advanced search, save time, save money, which is reservations and discounts, and then a community element to it. So we are expanding the business there. So it's a one-stop shop, concierge in your pocket. You can find pretty much everything. You can even book, you can make phone calls, you can get directions. We're fully updated on locations.
Indonesia has various food discovery websites, including local players and also international one like Open Rice.
Yes.
Now, how do you set Craved apart from its competitors?
Yes. So one of the major parts that we're getting a lot of positive feedback is our content. So we have like the top 15 places you have to check out at Pasta Santa, 5 new restaurants in peak, these kind of things, and people are loving it. So that's one thing that is unique to us. Also, another element is that we're being very, very localized in our elements. So we're not a review site in any way.
But starting up in Indonesia, what are some of the challenges, but also what are some of the advantages compared to other Southeast Asian countries?
Yeah, well, the biggest advantage is that it's the market potential. It's 250 million people. It doesn't matter where they stand as of today. It's a matter of where you're going to be, right? So, I mean, all of us, we're not building to flip, right? We're really trying to create value. If you're in one country and you're actually creating value in this humongous place, you can focus and not be distracted in having the tendency to feel like, oh, we have to go to another country because this is going to be soon to be saturated. We're never sitting in that situation for Indonesia, which is a great advantage.
Okay, most e-commerce startups face challenges in finding experienced talents in the market and payment infrastructure. Now, did you have the same experience, and how have you overcome that situation?
Yes. So, I mean, HR and payments are very two humongous challenges, right? So, HR-wise, I think The biggest thing, and this is the biggest kind of protection shield later on as well, in the sense that basically as a global player, just because you have money, you can't come in and spend a lot of money to hire experienced and good people, because it's that early in the market that there aren't a lot of people out there to just hire and then they'll be able to run right away. So it's a lot of, we're learning every day as well, really innovating and progressing ourselves to get to the next level. And I think internal training is very important rather than thinking that it's going to be a plug and play. For the payment side, you see it with all the e-commerce players as well, and how J&E and logistic companies are adopting their collection side as well, so cash on delivery. It's something that's not common in other markets, but Southeast Asia in general, that's one of the key ways to get around this whole payment gateway limitation. And still, it constitutes about 30–40% for e-commerce payments.
Now, Crave is Indonesia's first startup to attract an investment from Silicon Valley 500 startup.
Yes.
Now, prior to this, has funding been a problem, especially for a startup like Crave?
I think we definitely had a benefit from coming from the Rocket Internet background, right? So I think as an investor, it's less concerning whether this entrepreneur can actually fulfill. And luckily, we do have that track record behind our belts of actually executing things. So it was, we do have a benefit. We're excited with the up and coming more interest of investors in Indonesia, because back in 2013, when we were raising for Craved, yes, it was a very small number of investors that were interested in Indonesia, and we're excited to have the investors that we have.
Crave currently records a 30% month-on-month growth in traffic, reaching more than 3 million page views. Now we go to market story. Asian shares retreated on Tuesday. Among the weaker market in the region, Indonesia and China managed to stand in the positive territory in earlier trade. As for the markets on Tuesday, here's how they finished in Jakarta and around the region. And that's our Business Watch. Luisa.
Thank you, Prisma. Now we go to another story. Indonesian ambassador to Pakistan, Burhan Muhammad, was transferred to a burn unit in Singapore yesterday after surviving helicopter crash. Muhammad underwent medication to stabilize his critical condition in Chennai, India, before he was transferred for a better intensive medical treatment. Muhammad's wife died along with 6 others, including the ambassadors from the Philippines and Norway in the incident, while they flew in a Pakistan Mi helicopter to attend a ceremony in that country over the weekend. The Democratic Party kicks off its 4th National Congress on Tuesday in Surabaya, East Java. More than 1,000 delegates attended the 3-day Congress with several items on the agenda, including the election of the new leader. Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono has become the strongest candidate for the top post. He took over the party's leadership from Anas Urbaningrum in 2013 after was named a grave suspect by the Corruption Eradication Commission. Now we take a first look at the weather. Standing by at the weather monitor is Ashifa Latif. Ashifa, a quick look at tomorrow's forecast.
Yes, Luisa, we will have an unstable air tomorrow, but we have to stay fit and don't catch a cold. Expect some sun during the day, but with a possible shower and thunderstorms around. Daytime high will reach 33 degrees Celsius and cool down to 25. That's our first look at the weather. I'll be back with a complete forecast later in the program. Back to you, Luisa.
Thank you, Ashifa. Today's Indonesia will continue just shortly after the break. Coming up, how culinary diplomacy wins hearts and minds of foreign people through mouths and stomachs. We find out more.